There are times that heel pain can be a result of landing hard on your heel whenever you're walking, especially the person whose foot kind of turns out, more of the high arch person. Oftentimes it's those people when they walk, they kind of sound like an elephant walking in the house. It's just like boom, boom, boom. So they're putting a lot of force through their heel. When that happens, oftentimes that person has developed this tendency. It could be from an old ankle sprain or some lower extremity, some leg injury in their past, to where they have kind of stopped, or they've lost the ability to absorb shock through their leg, and so they end up just hitting their heel really hard. So I'm going to talk about a few things that we need to do to address that. Number one, I have Kelsey in this position. She actually does have a history of ankle sprains, not really heel pain. That's besides the point. But what we need to improve her ability to absorb shock is she needs to be able to have her pelvis move relatively into what we call anterior depression, okay? Or into the motion that the pelvis needs to go into as soon as the heel or the foot begins to engage the ground. All right. If she can't lengthen into that motion, she's going to hit harder. So I'm going to assess her, and I'm just going to feel how does she move into that direction. And for me, I'm feeling like, man, I don't get much motion at all, and there's a really kind of a harder infill there. So if I were to treat that, I would say, is that more the muscles not allowing that pelvis to go? Is there some joint restriction, maybe where her pelvis meets her spine? That's something that I kind of have to think through in order to get her to a place where she has the ability to get to more of a good, healthy end range of her pelvis. She doesn't have that right now. I'm not going to take the time to treat it either right now. But let's say I treated that out, and then I want to re-educate her body to then be able to naturally absorb shock a little bit better. I would go to the other end of the table. As an example, there's multiple ways that I could do this, but I would go to the other end of the table and have her reach long through that leg right here, and then keep it there, Kelsey. Don't let me push you up. Hold there, and don't let me push you up here. Good. And so then I would just hang out here for a while until I feel like I have hopefully a good connection of her leg up into her core. And then we can go through something called combination of isotonics, which is a term utilized with PNF, where I would say, slowly let me win, let me move you. Good, and that's absorbing that shock. And now you win. Push long, good. And I'm watching, I don't want to have any excessive compensation movements at the pelvis. I want a pure, go ahead and let it shorten again, a pure shortening, and that's great, and then a lengthening here. And so she, because we haven't actually treated her out, she doesn't have the motion to get all the way there yet, so she's actually extending in her low back right now. Once we actually work through that, she'll be able to lengthen without having excessive extension into her lower back, and thus have the ability to absorb shock more efficiently, getting out of breath, and also less impact on the heel.